Muggle World, it's Taylor here, and I wanted to do something Harry Potter, of course, because Harry Potter's my life, and I decided to start with which Hogwarts house am I truly in? So to begin, I'm going to say different things about the houses and then start from bottom to top on which house I am most like. So the top one will be my official house. I took the test on Pottermore. I've taken the test on Pottermore multiple times, and I've got multiple different answers, and a lot of people will probably go with their first answer, which for me it was Hufflepuff when I very first took it, when Pottermore very first came up and I heard about it. I took it, got Hufflepuff, and then a few years later, well, many years later, I took it again and got Ravenclaw. And then I took it again, got Gryffindor, took it again, got Ravenclaw, then Hufflepuff, then Slytherin, then Gryffindor, then Ravenclaw, then I'm like, okay, clearly I could fit into any one of these houses. So, because people change as they grow, I wanted to see if I'm still in the same house or if my house has changed. So this is going to be my true house, what house I'm truly in, and I actually had to ask my family for help on this as well, because we view ourselves differently than other people view us, and I wanted to see what their thoughts were as well as mine to figure out where I truly belong, so it's not just my opinion and I can't just be like, I want this house, so I'm going to be in this house. Even though the Sorting Hat takes your choice into account, even though that happens, I wanted this to be my true house and not just because of that. Even though if I chose it, I guess it would be my true house, like Harry chose Gryffindor. Anyway, beside the point. Let's start with the snakes. Slytherin house. Slytherins are leaders. They're ambitious, they're cunning, they are proud. Slytherin, I've always kind of liked Slytherins. I mean, but I love snakes, so maybe that has something to do with it. The Sorting Hat says for Slytherin, they use any means to achieve their ends, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Moving on. Next, we are going to talk about the Badgers, Hufflepuff house. So, for Hufflepuffs, they are hard workers, they are very loyal, and they are patient. Helga Hufflepuff herself has said, teach the lot and treat them just the same. And I find that really, really inspiring, and I really love Hufflepuff for that. Moving on to the Eagles, Ravenclaw house. Ravenclaws, they prize wit and learning and wisdom. And the Sorting Hat says for Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind. And I'm always attracted to brains more than looks, so I like people who like to think. And now, moving on to the Lions. Gryffindor house. Gryffindors, they value courage, bravery, and determination, which is not a bad thing. It's really not. Being brave is a very, very good thing unless you take it too far to stupidity. The Sorting Hat says for Gryffindor, they're daring, nerve, and chivalry. And I really like chivalry a lot because the definition is to help people that are weaker than yourself. Starting with the house I am very least like, with my family's vote of I am 20% like this house. It is at the very bottom, tied with another house, and that house is Ravenclaw. I'm a pretty witty person. I am very sarcastic and very quick for comebacks and all that fun stuff that comes with it. I enjoy learning, I really do, but the thing with me and learning is, even though I enjoy learning, it's very, very specific things I like to learn. It's a very 50-50 thing with me. It depends on what you're teaching me, what I'm learning, and what I'm interested in, all that. Which is how everybody is, but it's part of the reason why it's at the bottom for me. My third and my second house were so hard for me to figure out. They were the hardest houses for me to choose between. My first house, as soon as I read the definitions, the characteristics for that house, I automatically knew it was my first house. And for my second house and my third place house, I struggled so hard because I had lots of pros and lots of cons for both of the houses. So I was like, what has more pros than the other? Which is what I really needed help on. So that's where I called my family the most. And they said, tied for fourth place with 20%, Gryffindor is my third house. See, I struggled with Gryffindor a lot because I honestly don't really consider myself that brave, but when I look back throughout my life and I look at things I do, I'm a lot braver than I give myself credit for. And that's really what determined, which is really what made it hard for me not to put it in second place, because at first I was like, oh, I'm definitely not Gryffindor, I'm not that brave, but then I had to really stop and think about my life and think about different things, and I was like, I'm braver than I thought. Okay. So, which is where I had to ask my family, and they put it in third place, 20% with Ravenclaw. I have a lot of courage. I really do. More than I thought. And the definition of courage is, even though you're afraid, you do it anyway. And I have really chickened out a lot, and eventually, like, getting my ear pierced, I mentioned in one of my vlogs, I got a Dave piercing. And the first time I went in to get it done, I completely chickened out. I actually started to cry because I was so scared, because I'm afraid of pain and I knew it was going to hurt. And I backed out and I told him, I was like, I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to get it done. And so I backed out of it, and it took a few months, but I finally went in, and I had a really bad headache that was turning into a migraine. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I need to do this. It's going to help. It's helped a lot of people. I've heard a lot of stories. My sister got it done and it helped her. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. I cannot have another migraine, another headache like this again. I went in there and I was shaking and I was terrified, but I did it anyway. I powered through that fear and I got it done, and I'm actually really happy with it. I'm so glad I got it done. I'm actually really, really loving it. So Gryffindor is my third place, and I always like to help people that are weaker than me, because I've been through that. I've been the weaker person, and it doesn't make you weak to have help. People need help at times in their lives. And so I always like to help people that need help, that are weaker than I am in the moment. And so that really bumped Gryffindor up, which is why I had issues with putting it in second place as well, because I was like, I'm more brave than I thought. I'm helping people that are weaker than myself, and do I put this in second place, or is my second place answer more pros than Gryffindor? So I really, really struggled with this one, which is where my family came in, like I said. And so Gryffindor actually ended up being my third place. Moving on to my second place, which is the other one I struggled with. Coming in at 25% like this house is Slytherin House. I love Slytherin House. Oh my gosh, if I were at Hogwarts, this would be one of the houses I'd be fighting for with the Sorting Hat. That doesn't mean I'm not proud of my first place house, which I'm pretty sure you figured out what it already is, but I'm going to talk about this anyway. So I'm very proud of my first place house, but I have a lot of pride in Slytherin, and it's because people like when you read the Harry Potter books, people look down on Slytherins and they're like, so many dark wizards come from this house, therefore if you're in this house you're going to be dark and you're one of those people, and it's judging a person before you really know them. And maybe this ties in with Gryffindor, stand up for this house, because I'm like, you're really gonna take an 11-year-old child, automatically put a bad name to them because they're sorted into a house that has a bad rap. Really? Slytherin is my second place house. I am very proud of it. I love Slytherin house. I actually really love snakes, and any chance to hold a snake, count me in. I don't really care to be a leader, but I'm pretty good at it. It may not be my favorite thing to be, but I'm good at it. I have a lot of pride in certain things, and I'm not a really prideful person, but I take pride in my Harry Potter collection. I take pride in my Harry Potter knowledge. I do have pride, but I'm not one of those big prideful people. So that puts me in there as well, along with ambition. I do have a lot of ambition, like starting with this YouTube channel. Really, I actually got out of YouTube for 4 years, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back in and let's do this. I'm gonna actually do it this time. Maybe that comes with determination for Gryffindor, which is why I struggled with these two houses so much. But I think it takes a lot of ambition too. So that's where that comes in, the ambition and everything, and that's also where I started like mixing these houses up, because I'm just like, am I Gryffindor or Slytherin? What comes second? Because I'm like, well, this could also be this, but this could also be this, which is this house, but this one's this house, so it just got really blurry and confusing in there. So no, for a fact, I wouldn't use any means to achieve my ends. I can promise that I won't use any means. I will, however, do what it takes, as long as I'm not overstepping. And I really want to achieve what my ultimate goal is, and goals, I should say. I have more than one. I have a lot of ambition, and I'm not going to go to any means to complete my goals, because I believe there are certain lines that should not be crossed for those goals. So I wouldn't say I'd go to any means to achieve my ends. However, I would go as far as I possibly can, and I will even cut my way into, as long as it's not, like I said, as long as I'm not overstepping a line or something, I will do what it takes to achieve my ends. Now for my first place house, which we all know what it is. I don't really need to say it, but my number one house is Hufflepuff! I'm so excited. So I have my Hufflepuff robe and my Hufflepuff shirt and my Hufflepuff pride. I'm actually really proud and happy to be a Hufflepuff, especially when I have people like Cedric Diggory and Newt Scamander as my housemates. So I'm not disappointed in this house. I got Badger pride, and I relate mostly to Hufflepuff. And as I was reading these characteristics of the house, different memories kept flashing in my head. And I was like, oh, this time and this thing, and oh my gosh, I remember this, and this reminds me of this. And I was like, I sat there as I was writing this down, and I was like, I'm such a Hufflepuff. I never changed. Maybe a little bit, but my house, solid Hufflepuff all the way. Pottermore says differently, but I believe I have been Hufflepuff throughout my life. That has never changed, and I'm not mad at it. Yellow's my favorite color. Badgers are awesome. And hey, I'm magical. I mean, I could be a muggle. Let's be real. I'm a very loyal person, and it takes a lot to break that loyalty. Like, if you mess up one time, everybody messes up. I don't expect you to be perfect, because I'm not, and because no one is, except for maybe Draco Malfoy. At least he seems to think so. One time, I did walk away, but I had a very, very valid reason. My sister was being put down by people I used to call my friends, and I finally had enough, and I snapped. I haven't talked to them since, and I guess you could say that was loyalty to my family, which it was, but also that broke the loyalty to my friends because they pushed it, my ex-friends, because they pushed it too far. I work really, really hard in what I do. It takes a lot to make a YouTube video. Some people don't realize that. For people who make YouTube videos, you know how hard it is. It's like even the simplest of videos, like this one, it takes a lot of work. And I guess that's where determination comes in, because it takes a lot of determination too. But it's hard work, and you know, I have to get up, go to a job. I work out in the sun over 6 hours a day, out in the heat, in basically 105-degree weather, with humidity, that is. Usually it's like 95, but with humidity it feels like 105 outside. And I'm outside 6 hours a day to bring magic into people's lives. I am also very patient. I like people to have patience with me because sometimes I struggle with words, like today. And sometimes I may not want to talk about it in that moment. I need to calm down first. I need to think about things first. And so I will tell people eventually if it's something they need to know. Obviously, if it's none of their business, then it's none of their business. I don't have to tell them, but I need patience from them. And so, because I need the patience, I like to give the patience. So I'm a pretty patient person. I may be a little restless at times, but I try not to make it seem like I'm being impatient. That's just me, because I can't sit still for very long, which is why my hands keep moving and everything, because I'm sitting still for so long right now. I gotta move something. I'm pretty open-minded because of what I've been through in my life, what I grew up with, what I've had to put up with. I don't like to judge people as soon as I see them, and even when I talk to them, maybe they're just having a bad day. You never can tell, so I keep an open mind. If they're a little snobby to me, or they say something insulting, I try not to judge them judge them on that, because maybe it's a bad day. Maybe they're not somewhere good with their life. So you never know what's going on. So I like to keep an open mind, and not just with people, with anything really. So that also puts me into the Hufflepuff category. I just got really serious with this. Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna end my video right here. I am Hufflepuff from the day I was born. Guess I haven't changed. Not mad at it. I love being a Hufflepuff. So to all the Eagles out there, Ravenclaws, keep those ready minds ready. And to all the Gryffindor Lions, be brave. You guys have got this. To all the Slytherin snakes, keep that pride. Keep that cunning. Be strong. And to all my fellow Hufflepuffs, Badger Pride, we've got this, guys. We are not weak. We are unique. Bye, guys. ambition, and I really want to achieve it, but I'm not gonna do anything for it. Like, I'm not gonna back it up. I have a lot of ambition. I put all that I could into what I did, and that's where my hard work comes from. I am an amazing speaker right now. Today's a good day.